Hello.
Not
Hello.
so easy, is it?
Hello.
Wait, are we doing Gremlins?
I can't do it. Take my Batman cowl off and all right, Christian Bale, try it again. Hello.
Got Joker and Two-Face speaking to over here.
I'm not looking at him.
Yeah, stop looking at me.
I'm not looking at you.
Looking at me.
Just pretend you're saying hello to a normal person.
All right, just a regular hello.
Hello.
All right, here we go. Ready? 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to Depth Perception. We discuss movies and dive into how films direct the way we experience them. We create a perception of sound, a perception of sight, with a dimension of mind. We move into a land of both shadow and substance, and themes and ideas.
Boom.
There we go. There.
Rack him.
There we go. I still sound like I'm doing a character, and I can't stop it.
Hello.
You still should put that first one in, though. Me being like, hello.
Your ear holes.
Yeah. You still should put that, at least that first part where I say hello, and we just start laughing instantly.
That's so
hello.
Hello, Clarice.
And welcome.
I swear, like depth perception, like, death perception.
I just felt like Loki.
Hello.
Like, that's how it feels.
Well, in my head, I'm like, shut up. You got to do it next week. Shut up. You got to do it next week. Shut up. I'm going to read mine like Santa next week, so I don't have to pretend it. I don't have to try to. I'm going to jovial it up.
You're going to come in with it already recorded. No. Here you go.
Look at you guys in the eyes.
I'm Tinman, and I am hosting. I'm doing the introduction today for our Depth Perception podcast. Today we have with us Vosley.
That's Mr. Vosley to you.
And Christopher K-Max.
Ho, ho, ho.
Or Christoph K-Max. And I chose the movie Fatman, 2020 movie starring Mel Gibson. The film is an unorthodox slant on holiday traditions that follows a jaded, gritty Santa Claus who follows with growing production issues with government interference, an embedded assassin, a vengeful child, and the cares and worries of the world growing on his shoulders. So this is the movie I chose. I had never seen it before watching it the other day. And then you guys watched it prior to us reviewing it now. So my initial reaction was it was a neat, because it was a lower budget movie. The story follows Santa, and I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm not good with the beginning portions. This is not my job.
Okay, Mr. Vosley will take over.
Yeah, take over, please.
Of course, it happens when Tinman is feeling a little under the weather, too. So
Under the weather. We're doing this in the daytime. I'm a nighttime person.
We are nocturnal creatures by nature.
Yes. Forgive me.
So, like always, we'll do first impressions, but other bullet points that, as I was watching, because me and Tin Man watched it together, and K-Max watched it when he had time. But things that I noticed or wanted to discuss anyway were depiction of Santa, our favorite scenes, what we thought was the theme and why, Fatman versus Billy parallels, and relating this whole big thing back to our original discussion of Christmas movies. So, Tin Man, is that as deep as you want to go with your first impressions?
That's about right.
Okay.
Yeah, first impressions. It was a fun kind of like little bit of action. It was a neat twist on the character who's not so jolly. that the decline almost in society is starting to wear on him personally in his production with toys, with the elves, with his family, his personal life. And you can just see the stresses carrying on him. And it's kind of a neat having a Mel Gibson play that role. Mm-hmm. So it was a neat movie that's going to say that's my first impression.
Okay. K-Max.
I agree with Tinman. Seeing Mel Gibson play the role of Santa Claus was something. That is great. I think a lot of the actor in general, I think a lot of him, he plays emotion real well. He plays end of my rope. He's been doing that for 40 years really well. I'm at the end of my rope, and I'm just barely hanging in there.
Yeah.
And he did it. He knocked it out of the park with this one. And finally, his beard and his demeanor of late have found a role, perfect casting for him, because I thought, this is perfect. I like seeing him playing throughout the whole movie. I thought to myself, if you're going to try to talk about the struggles that Santa might have over some changes in society, I think you picked the right guy to play him. And I think he played him wonderfully throughout.
Yeah.
And even in a film that I don't think takes its... I don't know if it takes... I don't like it if it took itself super seriously, but I liked it a lot because I think that it didn't take itself super seriously. It was a low budget, kind of had some pretty big actors, in my opinion. Two of my favorite... I like... was it Walton Goggins?
Yeah.
I think he's outstanding also.
Yeah.
So it's like your two ends of the spectrum are both outstanding actors to begin with. So that was a cool little thick cat and mouse to see happening throughout the movie. But the fact that I don't think that it took itself as, we're a blockbuster, we're going to tell you how Christmas really happened. It was just this like fringe storytelling. I love it. If I can look at it as like a fringe story of Christmas.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I didn't know what to expect. I got this movie when it first came out, but I wanted to watch it with other people. Like I wanted to have some sort of experience with it. So it had been sitting in my movie collection for, well, I guess 4 years now. And so I didn't know what to expect. And when it started, to me, the dialogue started off a little bit hokey. And, it was tough to get an initial grasp on it. Was this going to be an action movie, comedy, an action comedy? But I love the deadpan deliveries from all the characters. That if you have it on the background, you're not going to catch the comedy. But if you're paying full attention, each of the characters has like a little uniqueness about them, and with the deadpan deliveries, I thought it was really funny. But some of the comedy may have been overlooked or too subtle without more cues, like music or character reactions, or just the way it was shot. I also thought Mel Gibson was awesome. Emotional deliveries when speaking to his elves, like when he's got to, apologize for bringing them back so quickly after Christmas. And he played the worn-out good guy so well. I love the little interactions he had with Mrs. Cringle. I thought Marianne Jean-Baptiste played her part so lovingly.
Oh, yeah.
And I was excited to still be able to latch on to themes and interpretations. And this one, I had a couple different themes at first, but it was difficult to latch on to a central one. And I did end up watching it again with a more central one in mind, and the movie continues to grow on me because of that. I enjoyed all the little choices the filmmakers did, and I guess I was just really drawn to the goodness of Mr. and Mrs. Cringle as well throughout the movie, like their unwavering, I guess, faith in humanity that things will get better. So that was my first impression.
I like that.
Love it.
Yeah. Initially, I kind of thought it was closer. It was going to be closer to like Violent Night, where it was like, oh, it's going to be a shoot 'em up, like kind of like a twist, silly thing, And it was just like, hey, it's going to be kind of maybe corny, but Mel Gibson's going to play it serious, so it kind of brings it a little more down to earth.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was actually more. There was more heart to it, a lot more, and I thought it made it a better movie.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was right there with you where I was like, because the other movie we were thinking about watching for Tin Man's pick was Red One, which was in theaters at the time of the first Christmas episode we did. But, you know, that one kind of gave off to me like Avengers, Christmas Avengers type of feel. So I was like, I don't know how much discussion, like, I'm sure it'll be very entertaining, but I don't know how much discussion you'll be able to have from it. And, you know, we've seen that type of movie before where it's just, well, how can we go against what people usually think about Christmas and make it extravagant and bloodshed and violence and everything? And, you know, Violent Night was there. And
well, I think that Red One kind of played, because I did end up watching it. So if anyone's out there thinking of watching it, it is on Amazon Prime, and so we didn't have to go to the movies to see it. But it's almost like so much mystical, so much magical that like it could exist in our world. It's just all hidden. Where I feel like Fatman is almost like in a world where he does exist. It's different than it is here. Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, he gets shot like well delivering presents. He does. He has to drive down to Alaska in order to get mail at a PO box. Like it's a little more grounded, realistic version of it. Where like, yeah, he is here. He's got to deal with the government. He's got people around him, and he goes to the one bar. And they're like, hey, Chris, you know, like they're like, yeah, he's just a regular guy doing his job. It's just, you know, he's got a thing to do. He's got a big job to do. So, you know, let him do his thing.
Well, speaking of, why don't you like fully dive into what you thought about their depiction of Santa in this movie then?
So the depiction of Santa being like a regular guy with a big task. He does have like these kind of like special abilities that come out little hints. So he seems like a regular character with like a lot of weight on his shoulders, a lot of stress. The wife is really the heart that's holding him together. It's kind of keeping him focused, and you know, there is good in the world. There is coal that is going out because there is a naughty list, and there are kids that are naughty. And little hints you get about him, like, you know, the big military guys are trying to move this box, and he's like, hold on, I got it. And lifts it up. You're like, oh, he is a strong. There is something to him that makes him more than. And then there's little hints where the assassin comes and calls him out, and they have like a duel type of thing. And he's like, you think you're the first? I've had this before. And he calls him out by name. The assassin is never given a name throughout the movie. And I think in credits, Walton Goggins' name is only Thin Man.
Skinny Man.
Skinny Man. Yeah. He doesn't have an actual name.
Same as me. I know.
But he calls him out by name. He's like, Christopher Miller. He's like, I'm sorry I couldn't be.
Or is it? I think it's Jonathan Miller.
Is it Jonathan Miller? Jonathan Miller, yeah. Jonathan Miller. Like, he knows him by name, and he knows his history, and he knows what kind of led him to become as naughty as he is. Yeah. So he has these, like, kind of extra elements to him, still being a regular guy. And they played that really well, I thought. I'm like, man, that's really cool. But Santa has a, I don't know, he's got his finger on the pulse of society. It's in the zeitgeist. He carries the stresses of how much different the world is, how the decline in society and in family, discipline, gratefulness that the children are displaying, and he's carrying it. He sees it every day. He's got like a lower, I was talking with Chris, I was like, yeah, the GDP is down. And so like coal is going out. He's not making the government kind of subsidizes, you know, the production. So he needs to make the money back, and he's not making enough money. It's not enough to get through the next season. Real world, like as if this is a real guy. How would it happen in a real world if Santa did exist and he plays a part in the global economy? How would it be seen? And it kind of feels like that's that.
And he, you know, you can see it too when he's like, it gives off the feeling like, well, what am I supposed to do? The kids aren't behaving. I'm not just going to give them presents to give them presents.
Right,
and
right.
Well, your income depends on it, so you either do it or you don't get paid.
Yep. And he's stuck between doing what's right, between doing what's best for the kids, best for what's right, outright, and then puts the elves through it, apologizing, and then subsidizes a little project for the government to come in and then use the elves for their own personal military. What was it for? It was for like motherboards for helicopters or something like that.
Yeah.
So that was my depiction of Santa. Was like kind of he's carrying the weight of what the world is now declining into. And it shows through him. At least that's how I saw it.
All right.
I like that.
K-Max.
Well, I thought probably the most brilliant part of filmmaking in this movie was they were able to show it without saying it, that he bore so much of the weight of the world on him, from even when he was at the bar and he sees the guy there that's about to have an affair or something.
Yeah,
he's like,
that's
go
right.
home.
Yeah, yep.
You got enough time to get home.
He calls him out by name, and
Yeah,
the
he
guy
calls
doesn't
him out by
He says,
name.
do I know you?
So he shows a little supernatural. He's a little bit the omniscience of Santa there, and yet he's still this guy drinking at the bar, and and then even like when he's getting ready to go out, and Mrs. Claus is finishing up the list, and she says, "Don't you want to check it?" And he just slams it. He goes, "We know it's fine."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he's just like he's not only checking it twice, he's not even checking it once. So. And then I like the way that it played with the mythology, with the traditional mythology there.
Yeah.
That here's how we know he's slipping, how if something's wrong with Santa. We see this disease because he's not checking it twice.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of cute. I really dug that. I thought this is really cool because now I can relate to it as a Christmas movie a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And so he's not checking it twice. He wants to take his bottle. Mrs. Claus takes his bottle and gives him hot chocolate instead for the cold weather. So we don't have to get a ton of backstory or see a lot else. We see these little snapshots that let us know that things aren't what Santa wishes they were, and it's weighing on him. Mm-hmm. So there's a price that's being paid by him that's weighing on him. I love the depiction of that the filmmaker makes about Santa Claus through Mel Gibson, because just so many things that are natural to Mel Gibson and the characters that he plays. He's worn down. He's getting, if I could borrow Danny Glover's line, he's getting too old for this. You can feel that weight by the way Mel Gibson plays it and by the way that the film is shot. It really shows that he's been around a long time. Even like the story about like the elves, how they're uniquely numbered, and that there's in a lot of Santa lore, they're pretty much eternal. These elves they're always there, and you see there's turnover, that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now 7 is like the project manager kind of in charge of the floor. And so we see that there's probably a mortality to Chris, even him too, and he might be winding down, and he's losing that. And it almost made me think of Voz, the Fatherhood podcast, a little bit. Like he's starting to fall into that Mr. Incredible. He's starting to fall into the mundane routine now, and
the malaise.
And we're seeing Father Christmas as this. And if anybody, if the rat race can get to Father Christmas, to Kris Kringle, it certainly can get to us. And so it was even more relatable to me as a dad saying, sometimes it can get exhausting.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, why are we even doing this right now? Why are we even putting the effort in? So I thought that they portrayed Kris Kringle, they portrayed Santa Claus wonderfully. Flawed, but wonderfully.
Yeah.
I could relate to him even more because he was flawed.
Yeah.
I like that you picked up the the subtlety of the storytelling with the checking the list twice, but also like his wardrobe. It's not like a bright red suit. Like it's not. It seems like he no longer has the same pride in delivering the gifts, and you briefly see a sleigh, and it hasn't been painted in decades, it looks like.
Right.
And he's got just a regular snow hat and just regular boots, like doing the bare minimum to complete his task on Christmas night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he's like Wish Santa.
Yeah. But it's like, because he's so worn down, because how can you be proud in your work if the work isn't being appreciated anymore? It's down to a job rather than a holiday.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
So my thoughts on Santa's portrayal reflect the theme of the movie very well, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But to me, he was an old, experienced, grizzled grandpa who is just hoping everyone can pull their weight as a society, and he's one of those old school mindsets. If everyone just does their job, we'll be all right. But as soon as someone doesn't do their job, now we're falling apart, and I have to try and pick up the slack. That's not my job. I only know how to do this. And so because they can't pull their weight as a society, he's suffering as Santa. it's not his fault that children aren't raised right or held accountable or making poor decisions, as he says. So he's just trying to do his job. His only other hobby that we see is him practicing shooting. Even his vices are classically Santa, eating too much cookies, or
Yeah, I love that.
he's got the cigar, which, is kind of a version of the pipe. He still has the Santa magic, even if the magic has left the rest of the country. So, you're talking about knowing things and knowing people, which I'll get into in a little bit as well. He's omniscient, immortal, seemingly immortal. He's been at this for a long time, and still carries out his impossible duty of visiting every child in the world overnight. So it kind of, to me, it gives you hope that the magic won't die, no matter how bleak society seems or how twisted the Utes are. Santa seems to know all will be well. Like even in the very beginning, his first scene, Ruth comes out there, and she tries to give him perspective on how dire things are. And he said, things will pick back up just like they always do, or something along those lines. So it seems like he knows how this is all going to end. Or how does he put it? He says, it'll pick back up, always has. Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. He drives into town in the beginning, too. And he hears on the radio, he turns on the radio, and the first two things he hears is how the kids in the world are just terrible. Was it the one kid, or there's the one story where they threw the bowling ball off the overpass or something?
Yeah.
And then, but to speak to his omniscience and kind of him knowing everything and knowing everything's going to end up okay, at the end, he tells that same postal worker, the skinny man had already been in there to ask about Santa, and he's like, "Oh, I'm working with Santa on something," and Santa comes in and used that exact term, "Oh, I'm working with him."
Yeah.
Don't interview, don't worry about it. I've got this. Me and him are in something together. Don't worry. So that, again, subtle storytelling gives you clues, a little bit of foreshadowing of how things are going to end. And as bleak as some things seem in this movie, I feel like you always had that sense of hope and sense of, well, everything is going to be okay because it's Santa, right? And then these little clues where he already knows what's happening in the world. And if Santa is real and he's got a list, then he knows what each of these people presumably have been planning, right? So it kind of reminded me of Wolf of Snow Hollow a little bit. We reviewed that one earlier in the series here, where if you follow the storytelling and how they're doing it, you can kind of piece together what's going to be happening or what's going on in these characters' heads. And to connect him with knowing that he's going to eventually end up with Skinny Man, some sort of confrontation, it makes you think back on his target practicing. So is he preparing for this this confrontation?
He's
he knows it's coming, and he's just like, well, all right. He's
out there shooting Chekhov's gun.
I totally missed that part. I mean, I got it, but I totally missed it. I thought he was mistaken, assuming that the person in the suit was one of the suits that were coming in from the government. That's what I thought he was. I thought when Chris came and was telling the postal worker, "Oh yeah, I'm working with it," I thought he was thinking about, "Oh yeah, there are new guys from the government that I'm working with," instead of saying, "Yeah, I'm working with this."
Yeah, so that my thought was that way at first. I'm like, well, does he mean the new deal that he made? For the extra money? But it was that exact phrase that made me rethink it and said, "Oh no, he's referring to Skinny Man because they said I'm working with him."
Yeah.
Not
not
like I have a job.
That's right.
Not like, oh, I took a contract from them, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it's almost like Santa's little magical way of twisting the words so that...
I never thought
so
of
it's
that.
I like that.
It's like letting us, the audience, know what he actually means, but with that postal worker, within the confines of the story, is kind of like, oh yeah, that covers all my bases. You don't have to worry about the army men in here. You don't have to worry about some hitman
And an assassin.
Yeah, so it to me, it kind of covered his bases.
That's cool.
So I thought that Chris. Feels weird to refer to Santa as Chris. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be Chris or Mr. Kringle or
they call him Chris.
They call him all those
everyone
things.
in town. They were just like, "Oh, hey, Chris."
But he realizes for the majority of the movie that he needs to update how he conducts his business. He's seeing that kids have changed, kind of what you were saying, Tin Man, and that they are no longer behaving from parents' guidance, whether it be due to absence or neglect, or from an innate good nature that, in older movies, you can kind of see like kids are just seen as like this innocent presence that just needs guidance, proper guidance and love. And and that's children as a whole, it's like treat them with love and caring and make sure they grow up right.
Yeah.
But today, even, not just speaking about Fat Man the movie, but just today's youths are just so exactly like how they're depicted in this movie, where they're throwing caution to the wind and throwing bowling balls off of things at cars and setting things on fire or whatever, setting people on fire. I can't remember what it was, but
I'm going to try to find it.
But it's like acting without any respect, any forethought, no regard for any consequence, no accountability. So it affects the way that Santa, his business isn't going to thrive with that same youth, we'll say.
Yep.
So, Billy just has Christine kidnapped for winning
for getting first
that
place.
science thing. Yeah. And then forges his grandmother's signature for money without any repercussions whatsoever. And Santa on several occasions admits failure with the children. Even before he goes out Christmas night or Christmas Eve night, I don't know what it's considered, to deliver the gifts, he says, Ruth asks him, "What's wrong with you?" or something along those lines. He says, "I failed." And he goes out and does his thing. So I think that was possibly in reference to inspiring good. So no longer do we have, act good or you're going to end up on Santa's naughty list. It's turned into, if I get presents, I get presents. Doesn't really matter. Cole's fine too. I'll get presents from my family then.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So by the end of the movie, he has learned to take things into his own hands when it comes to making children behave. And it resembles a bit of tough parenting, or at very least threatening accountability for everyone's actions. So he travels directly to Billy's house to deliver the fear of Santa into him. And this depiction of Santa's turn and his place in society couldn't be more relevant, I thought, to any other period in my own lifetime anyway. Because so many kids today are just downright... I'm going to sound like some grumpy old man here, but a lot of the kids are just entitled, rude, and ignorant. And in turn, many parents are downright selfish, absent, and uncaring. So I thought it was a pretty interesting, observant take on the whole Santa and naughty and nice type of thing.
Yep.
Any feedback, K-Max?
I feel like sometimes to make a movie work, you have to rely on the stereotypical. You have to rely on something that is a little more familiar. If you only have an hour and a half tops to tell the whole story, and so you're trying to create this. I want to create a character that represents this fall from grace. I want to create a character, and Billy was his name, was perfect because he's not only is he privileged, he's very wealthy. He's got the wealthy grandmother. You also see the damage that privilege can do. We've talked about these themes before. His father is probably largely successful, very wealthy, but he's never there. Mm-hmm. He's probably vacationing with his girlfriend. I think there's an allusion to.
Mm-hmm.
It sends the Christmas teddy bear 3 days late.
Yep.
And yet, meanwhile, this kid has every privilege that a wealthy kid would have. Servants, his grandmother lives upstairs, and he just pretty much has full run of the house.
Yeah.
Grandma says for you guys to leave now. Grandma
Yep.
says to these things. So he has full authority. Wears a suit around. This precocious grade school kid with all these first place buttons on his lapel.
Yep.
And grandma feeding into it, saying another one would look good right there.
Yeah.
So him going to the contest and it's almost an afterthought that he lost because he's pumping his own, telling the judges about his wonderful thing, and meanwhile it's getting announced that to the Christine won, and he's like, "Wait, what?" Almost like this isn't right. There's a certain amount of, and again, I'm going to sound like the grumpy old man, which is fine. There's a certain amount of truth to how disgusting privilege looks, and how disgusting entitlement looks, and how disgusting expectation looks, and spoiledness looks. And I think we're getting a look at how maybe Santa sees it, right? When we see how gross it is, how blatantly this kid is just a spoiled brat, to a point where he curses Santa, stands up with fist to heaven like cursing God. How dare you bring this on me?
Yeah.
And then also says to this, takes action, hiring a hitman. Listen, you got to bring this kid in, and we got to bully her into losing this award here. I think it's played wonderfully in the movie because now we get a look. We're almost ticked. We're like saying, this little crap, this little kid, this little bad kid.
Yeah.
And he has, what guts he has to just demand these things and to just hire this, and to go so far as to have a hitman bully this girl and threaten her, And then when Santa gives coal again, which is well-deserved, obviously, he opens it up. But I think that it's done in a way that presents, you have sympathy for the devil a little bit, right? Because you see him go down the stairs and look at his Christmas gift like every little kid dreams of doing. Opens it up expecting to see a wonderful gift.
He's Frankenstein's monster, I think.
Ooh. Yeah.
Like you can't fault him for
his
how
nature.
he's being raised, which is very absent, neglectful.
But he should suffer the consequences of his decisions.
But you can't be like that though in society.
Yep.
Right. He's very much a product of his environment. He's this suited kid.
What did I say he was? He was a mixture of two people. What was it?
Oh, Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro and something else. I think it's like, look at this little. It was an evil Ben Shapiro, and it was something else. I mixed. I'm like, oh, it's so and so and so. I can't remember the other one.
Very, very smarmy, very self-confident, very. Of course, I'm right.
Yeah.
And I think the filmmakers hit it on the head. If you want to paint someone that would talk about the decline of manners and appreciation, then you have the picture of entitlement. What do? You show this little boy in a suit who arrogantly wins everything, has everything handed to him, and being a very poor loser, refusing to accept the result of what was clearly a fair competition, saying no. And then furthermore, for his efforts, gets coal, and then goes out and has this big declaration, fist to the heavens, declaring, "You've done it now, fat man," or something like that.
Yep.
You messed up now.
You messed up now, fat man. And I've heard that. They say that in my class all the time.
You hear it echoed in the hallways.
Yes. I got a rock through my classroom window that said that. That's not true. My students love me, and I love them right back.
So we will circle back to Billy.
All
but
right.
For right now, let's talk about our favorite scenes.
Ooh.
Oh, favorite scenes. So one, I got two that I like. And one is just I just thought it was cool that they put it in the movie because it's a build up, right? You have the assassin killing his way into the inner sections of Santa's compound, killing everybody, killing all the military guys, and he finally has a standoff. And Chris goes under the bed, brings out the box, and he's got like a couple pistols. He's got like a flintlock. He's got like a couple extra weapons with him. It's like, oh, he's been carrying these weapons for quite a while. Why he's been armed with a different type of weapon, and an older one and a newer one, and he walks out, guns out, and it's like we're having a duel, and he's like, and that's one of my favorite scenes. I brought it up earlier, but it's like, okay, he's like, you think you're the first? Like I've done this before, and then calls him by name,
yes,
and knows him. Like, I know you. It was Jonathan Miller. and I couldn't be the parents that you needed to have when you were younger, but this is where it's come to, so they're going to have it out. And I thought that was so cool. They actually had like a shootout. I was like, I didn't want it to be like where I was thinking where it was going to be a whole thing was that, but it built up to this moment, and I thought it was well deserved by that point.
Sure.
And my other favorite scene's got to be at the end when he shows up. He's got an eye patch on because he got shot in the eye, and he shows up to Billy and calls him out for all. Like, he told him exactly what this kid needed to hear.
Yeah.
What society needs to hear. What every kid at some point probably needs to hear. And it was like exactly that. And it felt perfect being a dad right around Christmas time. I have kids who have, they have their moments, but they're good kids.
Yeah.
But they're kids, and everyone kind of needs that little moment where you go, hey, you don't see it. You're out of line and you need to be put back in your place. And I thought that was perfect way to end the movie. Like, he's still alive, because at first you kind of think he's dead in the shootout. And it's like, no, he's Santa. He's coming back. And then him to have that moment with the kid, well deserved. I thought that was cool. Now, those are my two, I thought was super awesome. So
I think we should remind anyone listening that these are 3 fathers of kids. I've got, me and K-Max got 2 each, and then Tinman's got a baker's dozen or so. But they range in age from now 5 to what? Who's the youngest or oldest?
I think Chris is the oldest,
20?
Right?
19 or 20?
20.
20,
Yeah.
yep. She's
So
the oldest.
range from 5 to 20 in age. So we've got a whole opinion on how to make Santa's nice and naughty lists, and a keen eye when we're out in public of who you think should be on those lists. We'll say. Okay, Max, what were your favorite scenes?
Like it. I think my favorite scene, number one was very close, just a tad bit before James's favorite. Witnessing the blowing up, witnessing the shooting, witnessing the carnage, seeing the bloodshed, seeing this trail of terror that the skinny man has brought to the North Pole, or to Alaska at least.
Or was it Alaska, or he was in Canada?
He goes into a town in Alaska to go pick up the mail, and it's north of that. I think it's
So
not
so
sure
he
what
lives
it
in
is.
Canada, I think, though, right?
Probably. Like there's a
North Peak is a town, because North Peak is where he goes to pick up the mail. North Peak is in Alaska.
I see.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure where. It doesn't. I don't think it says where, but he goes.
and I know in that part of the world it is very much that border is
Yeah,
I mean, hundreds of miles, that's still considered the same community.
yeah.
So like that border, even the people know your business. They pretty much just let you go. They wave you on back and forth through that border. I guess that's the one part of the world that I have some experience with.
Yeah.
That is like, having recently traveled there, it's like they are very much, they recognize your pickup truck, they pretty much give you the keep going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If they don't, then it's like, all right, you need to stop. But it's very much a fluid border between the two. So I know it's definitely not North Pole, but it's like the community he's from. He sees this trail of dread, and then this carnage that's happening. This ultimate bad boy, this ultimate naughty lister, the skinny man, the assassin, and he says, "Enough." I think he says enough, and it almost echoes godlike. And that's how I saw it as I saw Santa, who can sometimes be this godlike incantation, this Father Christmas, this supernatural character of accountability, of naughty and nice, of seeing things from a big broad view, of rewarding to those their just dues. They're good and they're bad. And coal and gifts and accolades and heaping praise upon those worthy of it,
I will say this though, that did give active shooter, like mass event shooting situation kind of feel, and that's one of the last trainings I was at was what's it called? Is MAPS, mass attack populated space, and it's for how do I create as much chaos and violence in the smallest amount of time and with the biggest amount of victims as possible. And it had that kind of feel going into it. It's like, okay, this guy, he's planting bombs.
Yeah.
He's got multiple targets. He has multiple entry points. He's got plans for this, plans for this, plans for that. He has a whole slew of tactics used to, I'm going to destabilize and then neutralize anything possible. And it definitely has like that active shooter feel, which is like a way more of an issue now than it ever has been. Mm-hmm. And that fitting a kid who had that kind of childhood.
Wow.
So that is also
I think that's huge insights, because I was triggered a bit watching that scene, watching the elves, and then the commanding officer from the military say, "I'm going to get you out of here. You're going to be okay." And it felt very much like the role of a teacher would have when their students are in danger. Him saying, "Okay, I'm laying my life on the line. We're going to get you out of here." He's telling Seven.
Well, Seven, I think, became that figure because he was like, I'm activating whatever protocol.
Yeah.
And he turns
They have like a
there's
lockdown
switch.
thing.
Back
They
to
have
the
to.
residence. He wanted them to go to their residence and
he
lock
moved,
it down.
He moved all the floor workers to the secret room or whatever and closed it. So.
I mean, you're seeing. So I think the filmmakers are doing a good job of showing you the good that's still left in society and in the world. There's good there. There's sacrificial good in the middle of all this chaos, in the middle of this decline. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, maybe I'm reaching too far, but I think it's nice to see those characters still present, even in the military. That guy was doing a good job.
Yeah.
And among the ranks of the workers, the labor, the working class, you have Seven, who was this hero. And I think the military guy who gave his life, who was the last one out, kind of shooting the guys that were going outside. Can't remember. Oh, my point. The godlike Santa, like him saying enough, looking down on his creation, saying you've declined to a point of now you're just spiraled to this ultimate precipice where you're trying to kill me and eliminate me. Yeah. Enough of the carnage. I need to intervene. I need to step in. This is the point where I'm coming in now and I'm stepping into history, that there's going to be a mark here. There's going to be a statement made. Now you got to prepare for the intervention.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I mean, it's Christmas, so I don't think it's too far of a bridge too far for me to make that leap of like a godlike leap by Santa to say enough. When he said that, that's how I felt. That's why I felt like that was the precipice scene, and I use that word a lot. A big moment in the scene that changed the whole, like a catalyst for driving the whole force of the movie, of him saying enough, and it almost had an inflection on his voice that was more than Mel Gibson. It's like this thunderous Odin voice from the mountain, you know, and him saying it, and then the action that followed is him saying almost "no one messes with Christmas" kind of a thing, which brought it more to a playful that I thought the movie was going to be from the start. It brought it to that shootout scene where I thought, this is James' movie. This is Tin Man's movie right now. But I really liked it. I thought that scene carried a lot of weight. One more scene that I thought was pretty telling was the little boy with the airplane at the gas station. When Skinny Man sees the airplane and goes up to the little boy, you're thinking, this character could just easily kill this kid.
Yeah.
He could care less about human life.
Right.
And yet he's thrown back to Christmas of his past saying, did Santa give that to you? You know, and he says, I'll buy it, $100. The kid's like looking, and he's like, 150. The kid could care less, really, probably. But he buys the airplane and puts it on his dashboard. So you see that psychic wound in even Skinny Man, that the hurt, that it was probably his own actions that got him cold to begin with back in the day. I'm sure it was his own actions. But how that carried the weight and how that scarred him and made him into the person that he was. He was set on a trajectory.
Or his lack of his family.
Yeah, sure.
You know, for whatever reason, he kind of focuses that whole thing, and it's Santa's the fault.
You won't trample my thoughts this time.
So Foz, how about you?
Well, I'll be showing it. I'll be talking about it shortly. But I did, while we're on the topic where you talked about Skinny Man, you're thinking as an audience, oh, how's he going to harm this kid? He's a dangerous guy. The way that I have him explained in my theme and what he represents, to me, there's no way he was going to harm this kid. And you kind of see a reflection of that earlier in the movie when he kidnaps Christine. And, you know, we don't know that he already did it, but she's waiting, you know, tied up or whatever in the basement. And when he drops her off, he doesn't have a mask over it. He doesn't have her tied up or anything. and he's like, you're going to have a very Merry Christmas or whatever. And he's just kind of talking her through things. And
Oh, he says that when she leaves too. Like
Yeah.
he drops her off and she's like in the driveway and he's like, "Oh,
he
Merry
tells her Merry
Christmas," and
Christmas.
she's just kind of like,
So,
Okay.
so like I'll get into why, but yeah, there was something more to him that he has a connection, and the whole movie, we realize that he also has a vendetta against Santa, but that it's also none of it is directed towards like children or other people wishing to have a happy holiday. So like the kid also,
Yeah.
like, well, I'm going to buy that, but here's money, and I'll go more into that interaction when I explain my theme. But did you have any other favorite scenes, or was that the last one?
Those were probably two of them.
Okay.
The enough one was probably my favorite.
"Yeah, that was cool. That was real cool."
So I got three that I want to go through. One of them's really quick, and I think it's pretty cool because as I'm hearing you guys talk, the scenes that I picked out are different from K-Max's, which are different from Tinman's. So I think it's cool. We got a movie here that we value different things from different scenes in the same movie. And the first one was kind of like just a funny little scene, but again at the climax where Skinny Man is destroying Santa's workshop. He's planting bombs and he throws one.
I know which one you're talking about.
And he's looking at people on the lines inside the assembly lines, and then he looks over and one of the elves had picked up his bomb, and so he's like trying to talk him down, like that Skinny Man's looking for that thing not to blow up, but he's just like, put it down. And the elf because he's an elf and can work things, he just like immediately diffuses it and tears it apart.
Dismantles it.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like just out of his nature too. It's like he doesn't know what it is, but he's like, I must undo the because the face he gives after he undoes it too is like, it's what I do. I'm sorry. And another of my favorite scenes, again, speaking to the comedy of things, the deadpan exchanges. They're having lunch, and the military guy, he's proposing to solve all the elves' problems, right? Like this guy who's been alive a fraction of the time the elf has been alive, and him, of course, being
A regular-sized human.
Yeah, he's a human talking to an elf how to live as an elf and solve their issue of being short. And
Oh yeah.
He's like, they're all gray colored. Elves are all gray and small, and he's like,
but he's like, I think I know what the problem is. Like, it's this inadequate diet. And Seven's like, inadequate.
yeah,
with sugar still in his mouth.
yeah.
So like that little exchange where he's like so taken back that this human,
Yeah, because he was like, "Yeah, you need some protein, need some fiber and vegetables," and they're just
thousands of years refining what an elf needs to be
he's
functional.
like, "No, simple sugars."
He's like, that's why we live so much longer than you.
Yeah. So,
Simple sugars, 20 minutes sleep every 8 hours. What are you talking about?
every elf takes a 20-minute nap every 8 hours.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Who are you even?
Because I don't know if anyone's out there hadn't seen it yet, but it's a buffet of snacks, cookies, candy,
straight
pies.
up sugar to top your stuff with,
and just straight sugar. You could just scoop up and put it on top of your other food.
But yeah, this military guy is going to tell this elf how to grow and solve their health issues. To solve their thousands of years lifespan health issues. but yeah, the number 7's reaction, inadequate.
Yeah, he's like, drinking coffee, drinking hot chocolate, inadequate. Yeah, that's great.
That's so good.
And then I think the third one I'm talking about, but probably my favorite scene is Chris is working out in the garage and he's hitting the pads, and Mrs. Cringle had put. That's also funny too. It's not Mrs. Claus, but it's Cringle. Mm-hmm. But anyway, she had put the photos and the stories and like the little reminders and keepsakes in the garage for him to look at, and it kind of reminded him what he does it for. Mm-hmm. And it was like you got a baking set or a cooking utensils for the one kid. He ends up being like a big chef and whatnot. And so he goes inside, and she explains how he and she are there for each other, and the just the balance of accountability and support she gives to Chris. So it makes us feel empowered and, as Chris puts it, downright inspired.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed seeing that, the unwavering love and bond between spouses like that. And I've mentioned a few times my admiration for that relationship. So season 2 of the podcast will probably have a good portion of that relationship. I'm excited for that one. But just that, to see how strong that bond between Mr. and Mrs. Cringle was, as she was there for him, and like, the little, even though I told you not to use my good towels, and switches the towels for him, like just making sure he knows what's right and what she's told him before, but also being loving and devoted and supportive of Chris throughout this whole
There's a
thing.
great deal of that in this movie between the two of them. Like we
a
worked
little
through it.
playful banter where she's like, "No cookies for you," and he'll sneak a cookie,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But no, I really did like that, and the house they lived in wasn't a magical.
Yeah, it's not a mansion.
A magical
it's a
Christmas
mom and pop.
mansion. It was like a quaint farmhouse that no, this is just a like what.
It gives off like it's not something given. It's something you have to build up yourself.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah. Something you have to build up yourself that's built on like good morals and care,
Hard work,
yeah.
dedication. Yep.
And so that's how the house looked and felt
the
whole time. So,
and it was something that they both had to upkeep. Whereas, well, we'll save it for.
Okay.
So this one's going to be we'll see where we get with it, but theme and why. Tinman, did you nail down anything or?
Not anything specific that I can focus on that I haven't already said.
Okay.
Just that what he represents mimics society, and then no more place would that fit or contrast than at Christmas time between the children and how the decline of society or the lack of parents being parents that they need to be for the children, and how it like comes to a precipice.
Yeah.
It like focuses it right at Christmas.
You mean trope?
A trope. It does fit. I do have a list of Christmas tropes with this movie does fit. So under my criteria, this is clearly a Christmas movie.
Clearly is.
Well, K-Max, what do you have for a theme?
Very simply, you better be good for goodness sake.
Love it.
Yeah, nice.
You better be good. I mean, he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. Knows if you've been bad or good. You better be good for goodness sake. You think of all the like the I guess the mythology, the purpose behind such a holiday and such traditions. Again, children, turn off your podcast now. But like, you think about like why Dickens and others put so much value in the traditions of Christmas when they were kind of not rethinking but remastering it, I guess, like kind of like giving it a second life. Just after the turn of the century, where it's kind of like getting reborn. Like a whole stoke up those Christmas traditions again. And why that happens is, and some of it is to make sure that little boys and girls are being good little boys and girls. Think about it like our own culture. A lot of the stories and songs and are to encourage you to live right and to have a good mind and to be respectful and to not venture out beyond the campfire light and not stay out too late and not to keep this kind of company. Same thing with these Christmas traditions, I think. It's to get good little boys to behave and listen to mommy and daddy. Go to bed on time. Take your medicine. Say your prayers. Do your chores. Do those things. I don't want to call it control and anything like that, but I'll just say this, to live right. Inspiring you to live right. So the theme of this movie just feels like, okay, you've got these kids not living right. Here's the consequence of it. It can turn you this way. It can make you do these things. And it's wearing on old Father Christmas, too, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, you better be good for goodness sake.
I love it. I like
Good stuff.
I like the wording of it too. Fits Christmas. I had so mine's similar, and I feel like mine's going to overlap in some ways with yours. But I have the inspiration of goodness and hope must change with the times. Ooh. So hope and goodness is still there. In fact, it will always be there. But it must be translated for the people that need it. Santa in this movie is omniscient and immortal. He's not going anywhere. But he isn't inspiring people in the way he used to be able to. Today's kids aren't buying it. So how do you measure the magic being lost by children and families today? By translating it to a measure those same adults and children may understand. Business and money. No need for Santa or elves equals no profit equals run out of business. Santa's workshop as a business helps us to see just how cold society has gotten. There's a scene where Chris is driving into town and the radio has story after story about today's youths making all sort of bad decisions. And it seems like they're not even recognizing that they're bad decisions. Kids threw a bowling ball off an overpass and said they were just playing. Chris goes into the post office and goes on about the news he heard. There's also references all over to Santa's work, i.e., delivering gifts, not coal, but gifts, being not as fruitful as years past. This meaning less good children in the world. And Santa is worn down by it, saying he failed before he sets out to deliver on Christmas. However, you can hear Ruth say, "You still have it." So relating that back to my theme of the inspiration of goodness and hope must change with the times is you can still inspire the kids, but the way that that's worded to me is it's going to have to be in a different way, though. So I stopped Tinman from going too deep into Skinny Man's symbolism and all that, because he plays a pretty big role in how I interpreted the theme and how I could see that theme being woven through the story. So Skinny Man, obvious opposite to the Fat Man. To me, Skinny Man represented all the negativity and hatefulness that is eating away at the magic and goodness of Santa. There's the scenes where Skinny Man basically buys out other people's dreams and Christmas wishes. The baseball bat in the very beginning, and then the plane that K-Max brought up. It's a character scorned by his past and longs for a revised Christmas. He's a personified figure for angry children everywhere. Fat Man even comments before the confrontation that Skinny Man also had absent parents, much like Billy. To me, the fight between Fat Man and Skinny Man was for the future of Billy. And this generation's problem children, basically.
Ooh, like that.
So here's a call back to you. Ghost of Christmas Future. And that's how I viewed Skinny Man in relation to Billy, was that was kind of the Christmas future. If you don't change your ways, is how you end up. However, as was my interpretation of the theme, Santa was always going to win, even when he was shot in the head. We then get to the scene where Mr. and Mrs. Cringle visit Billy to speak to him in a language he absolutely understood. We know that Billy will change his ways just by the look of the fear in his eyes. Inspiration of goodness? Stern, but yes. Santa's message, though coming as a threatening tone, is still fair. Don't hurt anyone, don't kill anyone. These are requests that shouldn't have to be verbalized, but Santa, changing with the times, learns he has to spell it out. With this change in attitude, there may still yet be hope for these lost children. So that's how that was my theme.
That's perfect.
It's really good, yeah.
And like I said, when I look for the theme in movies, I try to see what's there from start to finish. What do they set up that they finish by the end? Like, what kind of bow do they put on it by the end? And so that's because there's the being like, at first I was like, well, goodness always defeats evil, and just be good, and so those are all themes that I had thought of. But as I'm narrowing down what supports what, because that wasn't an easy task to pin down my theme for it, but as I watched it, as I ended the first watch and then went through the second watch, things started to funnel themselves towards this idea.
I never took the time to go, oh, they name him Skinny Man. Okay, he's supposed to oppose him, but it's because of Billy. Yeah, that's why. I'm like, that makes sense, because Billy hires him to do this, and this is the path he wants. Billy's, I don't know if you want to call him carnal, but like his twisted wants and desires are all in this direction. And he's going to get very good word. And he's going to get what he wants if he wins. But if he doesn't win, then what's right will win out, and then because he can't. It's going to be for Billy. It's one way or the other. He's going to have the skinny man or the fat man, who's going to end up being on top. And I love it's pretty cool that it circled back around at the end to put a cap right on it. So that was perfect.
Because the ending is him coming back to Billy to
put him straight. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I love though that the ideas were planted throughout the movie that good was always going to win though. Like Santa's preparing for this gunfight. He knows everyone's names. He knows everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he does have this gunfight, it's kind of like, well, okay, sure, you won that battle, but you're not going to win this war.
Yeah.
And it was, in like wrestling terms, pro wrestling, you had outside interference with Ruth being the one that finishes him off.
Throws the chair into the ring.
She knocked the ref in the head and then hit Skinny Man with her finisher. So, K-Max, any thoughts on because like I said, my theme was pretty close to yours, I feel like.
Yeah, I really like that idea, though, of just the fat man, skinny man. And I should have seen it, because the only way I saw it was I watched it with captions, because my hearing's not great. So I watched it with captions, and whenever he spoke, it was instead of his name, it was Skinny Man. And I knew that there was a purpose for it, but I never... I guess when I tend to watch on more of just a very face value.
Because you can only pick up so much, because the next scene something's happening. You're like, okay, I got to focus on that.
Right. Yeah. But I love all of that. I love all of that. The symbolism of the characters kind of moving away. You know what? One thing that troubled me a little bit was the finality of Chris getting shot in the face. I'm like, it left me with a pit saying this doesn't resolve things.
Yeah.
For this theme.
And when it happened, he was just like, you didn't see that coming. I'm like, no, I didn't see that coming.
Well, in my head, when I was watching, I wish I watched it with you guys, because I was like because I was feeling that theme coming along. Yeah. And it was coming to a nice head. And I just thought to myself, this pleases me. And then poof, and I'm like, okay, now how is it going to resolve?
Yeah.
In a satisfying way that makes that fit for me. And it did. I didn't add to it.
I think it plays more to his, like almost his eternality.
Yeah.
Or to the spirit that will never die. No matter you put one in its head, it's not going to die. I think, and then having the missus do the deed too, like she gets in on it too. But I think it just plays to their relationship, the family dynamic, the heart that she's there to hold him up when he can't.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
It still plays all into it. I think
because that's what she was throughout the film, right? Yeah. She was very much, I'm going to carry you when you can't carry yourself. I'm going to carry you.
Yeah.
I thought that is much. There could have been a marriage counseling theme to this whole thing with their relationship, the two of them.
Yeah.
Just how they said, we're struggling. We've seen this before. We've seen these struggles before. We're going to get through it, and him saying, I don't know. And then him being the encouraging one sometimes saying, we've seen this before. We're gonna get through this. Yeah. And the two of them kind of independently of the fate of the world, the good and the bad, their own relationship saying, we've seen worse.
Yeah.
We'll get through it
And
again.
there's a lot of we and us, and
Yeah.
instead of
Yep.
I and you and me. You know.
Pretty good stuff.
A lot to it.
I hate both of you guys for picking such abstract and awesome Christmas movies. Because I'm like, God it. Me and freaking White Christmas have no chance now. But I can't wait to present that. I'll get to that when we get to that.
Well, that was the whole idea of our first Christmas episode is what is a Christmas movie and what are the feelings you're supposed to feel with Christmas? Because yes, there's the warm and cuddly and familiar. You know, we all have movies that we watched 10 times a season. You know, Muppet Christmas Carol or a regular Christmas Carol and Grinch and all those, and they do make us feel warm and cuddly. But what are the actual thoughts and feelings and emotions that we should be feeling at this time? And so I'm glad that so far we've got 2 movies that speak to those other feelings and thoughts that are around at Christmas time. And I mean, I've never seen White Christmas, so
Neither have I.
yeah.
Yay!
So either way, it's going to be something interesting.
Something beautiful that I think if I could preview just a hair for what we can look forward to with watching. By the way, out there, go ahead and watch White Christmas so you can be ready for the next pod. The idea, the contrast of something that we would see like Children of Men and Fatman. I would have thought, we're doing Christmas, gentlemen. You know what I mean? And then after the pods and after our discussions, I'm seeing how wonderfully they hold together and hold up in a more authentic, more deeper meaning of Christmas in a very beautiful way. And I'm looking now at many of the Christmas movies that I liked growing up. And I'm thinking, they do a good job. But I'm thinking, I don't know, and it's going to be a fun thing to explore together. Does this fluff hold up? And I don't want to put it down because I love it. Does this hold up with these ones? Does it exceed it, or does it fall short even of these films to really depict the meaning of Christmas or give you that Christmas feel?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because you can sing White Christmas and the crowd can join in, but what got you to sing White Christmas together? So I'm looking forward to it to see how it measures up.
Interesting. I wanted to touch on the, you mentioned it felt odd when Santa was shot in the face, and it was like, well, I thought you were supposed to be good for goodness sakes, but apparently you can just shoot Santa in the face.
In my head, that's what I was thinking.
But so that's with my thought on Santa being omniscient and almost a pure constant in the world, no matter how influential or non-influential he is. I thought that's why it was pretty important that they sprinkled those hints in there. And for the formation of my theme, that's why I said the inspiration must change, like it must evolve. Like there's no sense that it was going to be gone, do this or else it's not there, be good or else, I don't know, it was, it'll always be there. It has to evolve to meet what the current climate of society and children and attitude and all that is. So,
Yeah, I like that.
So Fatman versus Billy. Does anyone have any thoughts before I dive into my?
I want to hear yours first, because I was trying to see what the connections were with Billy and Fatman, like run the parallels between Chris and him, and I'm like, that was lower on the list of our tasks, and I was still butchering the first few.
And I think before Vaz goes, mine's going to be so shallow. Like when I try to dip into those waters, I'm just going to put my toe in before Vaz jumps in.
Okay.
Because all I thought was we needed a vehicle to show, just to embody this entitlement. Mm-hmm. So show the little boy in the suit, I got to win, and even show some of the why his dad's not there. And show some of the privilege, all the money, and the servants. And even the grandma who just kind of, he's taking from, and he has to run.
He drugs her too, doesn't he? Like put something in her.
He's running. Yeah, he's got plans for grandma. Let's put it that way.
He's got plans for grandma.
He's got plans for grandma. When she says she's going to get out the rat and find the rat who's signing these checks for her, she's going to find it out. And he's like, we'll see who finds who or something.
Yeah.
But I felt like his job, the tool that he was just to embody the decline and to show the entitlement and how yucky it can get.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I think that is true. Like that's what Billy is. I feel like you guys, it's like, I don't know, you watch your kids when they're young do an Easter egg hunt, and they like keep stepping on the egg, and you're just like, no, just look down. Like it feels like that, but so I'll dive in.
Thank you.
Just look down.
But like it's that simple. Like you guys are right there. It's just if you just make the connection, it's right there. You guys are almost like describing it. So based on my theme and interpretation of Fat Man and Skinny Man as symbols, the real conflict is actually between Fat Man and Billy, with Skinny Man serving as Billy's wrath. We see this, though at times subtle, parallels between the two characters. So we kind of a tangent here, but red clothing. We've got Billy's tie. So they're always sure there's something red associated. But Billy's tie, and Chris's coat and hat, even though they're darker, worn shades of red. And we see a lot of red connected to Christmas. So the red barn, which was Santa's workshop, also worn. Billy's house was red, and Chris's truck was probably second to Billy's tie, the brightest, most vibrant, consistent red that we see. And then to another extent, the lack of red that we saw with Skinny Man, and the lack of color, as in Billy's future, as the color continues to drain, like the magic continues to drain from him as he gets older. So we see Skinny Man in all black. And maybe Santa saw this too. He gave him the little cop card that's only black and white. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember if it had a little, like the light on top. I don't think it did. But, there's the absence of color, the absence of this Christmas magic that was with Christmas future version of Billy. We see both Billy and Fat Man have their version of elves. So you guys have touched on this throughout the whole thing. But so Santa has literal elves, and Billy has these servants all throughout the house that do his bidding. So they're always working. Both Billy and Fat Man are always working. And each of them are supported by a kind female presence throughout what they do. And both of them even have a hidden box. I can't remember if Billy had his under his bed or if it was in the closet. I can't remember. But they each had a hidden box that they use throughout the movie. And then moving on to how they're depicted on the screen, each of them had little physical quirks about them. Like Billy would, he still had some of that kid persona to him. When he wrote his letter to Santa, and he quickly, scampers down the stairs and quickly scampers back up, and the little smiles when he's doing things, or he'll skip when other people aren't around. So it's like little physical quirks that they kind of show throughout the movie, which other characters don't really seem to have. And Chris had the same quirks to him. The way he walked was like a belly first, almost kind of like a waddle. The belly led the way, and then his feet kind of they look like they almost pointed outward a little bit, but the way he walked. And then Tinman, you mentioned, he would steal a cookie and run away real quick.
Yeah.
So it was like those little physical quirks that each of them had that set them apart from everyone else in the movie around them. So to me, this established the two characters as the central characters, and that means that they're both part of the conflict. So that was those parallels made me, it supported my theme where it's this side versus that side, and what's going to happen between them. So far, do I have you on board that there's at least a little parallel between them?
I'm almost sold.
Okay.
I'm on board. I'm easy though.
So I'm going to get to, in Haudenosaunee, we have the two-row wampum, right?
Yeah.
The two things never cross, right? Yeah. So we had Billy, we had Fat Man, and now we get a crisscross during the movie. So those paths, instead of running eternally parallel to each other, now crisscross. And that happens when we get the final showdown between Skinny Man and Fat Man. Santa's stock soars and Billy stinks once Skinny Man, or Ghost of Christmas Future, is defeated. Up to this point, Santa was out of money while Billy was full of it. Then after Skinny Man's defeat, this reverses. Fat Man finally gets his check, and Billy has run out of checks, or his grandmother finally catches on that the money's been used without her knowledge.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right, I'm buying in a little bit. All right, there's another one. Okay.
And speaking of grandmother, again, this is the crisscross where things go up for Santa and down for Billy. So speaking of grandmother, the presence of female support is also a major way in which Santa separates himself from Billy. So Ruth empowers Chris, holds him accountable while still showing love and devotion. Chris opens himself to Ruth and never once spoke ill of her, telling the truth and listening to her guidance and apologizing when needed. Of course, this was not the reciprocation Billy had with his grandmother, as he was using her, told her lies, and did not apologize when he was supposed to, and relied on his version of elves to comfort her or take care of her. So that's, for me, what sealed that theme for me, because that defeating of Skinny Man and the turn that Santa took to become more of a tougher presence, like tough love, and the inspiration of hope and goodness now comes from a place of sternness, but still love and caring.
Yeah.
And so once Skinny Man's defeated, we see everything go downhill for Billy, and in opposite terms, or opposite points here of what Santa, how am I trying to say this? The same ways in Billy went down, Santa went up.
Yeah.
Once they got rid of that.
Because it didn't have to be
future.
checks he was getting. It could have been just like, oh, hey, we have the money in the account, but it was actual physical checks.
It was real, yeah.
And
it
then,
wasn't, here's
and then
money.
Billy was writing physical checks.
Right.
Like they're both actual checks.
Like very specific terms. They're getting checks.
Yeah.
So those are my parallels of Fat Man and Billy.
Okay. All right. I see that.
The little things like that.
I'm going to have to watch it like 3 or 4 times before I got that part. But I only saw it one time, so cut me some slack.
It's real cool that we had a movie that we just all recently seen in the last 10 days.
Yeah, none of us have seen this movie before. When was it? Thursday? So
Thursday, yeah.
5 days ago? 4 days ago.
No, Friday.
When did I watch it with you?
I thought it was Friday. No,
Wednesday? It was after your volleyball.
Oh, it was?
Thursday?
Oh, it was Thursday then, yeah.
I can't count. That many days ago. Today's Monday. So any K-Max or Tinman, any more thoughts on that? Those Fat Man, Billy?
No, I like it. I know. I thought he was just a simple juxtaposition to, to show the contrast of how it used to be to how it is now. Now I get that that was the conflict. That was the major, even though the showdown come down to the tool,
right.
to the vengeance,
and
the anger. It always was Billy.
Yeah. Well, Billy's soul is still in play. Mm-hmm. The Skinny Man's is not.
Billy's soul.
That is a Always Sunny in Philadelphia reference. That's what that is.
I missed that one.
Oh, Dayman.
It's not Billy's hole. It's Billy's soul.
Now I get it. Now I remember. Now I remember the episode.
The boy's soul.
The boy's
is mine.
Always Sunny.
So I wanted to wrap up with just kind of relaying this movie and viewing experience to our overall conversation on Christmas movies. What is a Christmas movie? What is Christmas?
I really like that. That's where we came with this. And I'm glad that this is the movie I ended up picking too.
Oh yeah,
because I'm like between from our first episode where we all just fought each other over what is and isn't to an almost not a Christmas movie, Reason for the Season movie. where you're like, oh, okay, I can definitely see it, to this one where it's like, it's a Christmas movie, but not a Christmas movie.
Right. Like all of your quote tropes are almost the opposite.
Yeah,
This
they're
guy's
almost the
jolly,
opposite.
like, nope, not this guy.
Not this guy.
He's tired and worn out.
Yeah, it's almost like what the real world is wearing on the Christmas spirit is showing in this movie. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And so it still fits in my category, a Christmas movie, but is definitely fringe. So
it's
I love that.
Like the movie itself, it's tough love version of
It's the tough
of
love,
spreading the cheer.
Yes, it's the tough love. It's what's needed to keep him in line, to keep him from straying, from being on the naughty list, from society, from being on the naughty list. It's what's needed. It's the discipline that's missing, and you're supposed to enjoy it by the Christmas time. But if you can't enjoy it during this time, it's because the rest of the year, the discipline, the tough love, it's not there.
And
I need that.
If I could add, I love the fact that Chris was very mindful of that. He needed to repair himself first before he could inspire again.
Yeah.
He needed to find the hope himself, and it's his wife that helped him find that hope.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because he had lost it. And he had said he's pretty much going through the motions, and the government said, you're still responsible for inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
And him saying, I'm not capable of it, and then her saying, yes, you have slipped. Yes, you do need to get better. And there's that whole revelation before he even encountered the skinny man, where it's almost like the transaction took place that he gets it. He's like, I get it. I got to get better. We got to get better. We're gonna improve. We're gonna be this way. Mm-hmm. It's like he found his Christmas light. He found his hope, and now he was ready to just inspire again. He was ready to take on. And the proof was after when him and Mrs. Cringle went to pay Billy a visit. That was the proof. Like, yeah, we are going to inspire.
Yeah,
maybe not in the way the Christmas cards might depict.
Right.
But we're going to tell you. We're going to hold you accountable. Listen. Kid, it starts with you. Here's what you're going to do. Here's what you're not going to do.
Yeah.
Do I have an agreement?
Yep.
Or else I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
and I'm going to Krampus your butt.
And I think it's a pretty cool way it wove its way into here. We talked about absent and neglectful parents, but then you see how Chris and Ruth, they never met Billy through the rest of the movie, or at least we don't think they've ever met Billy, but it took them coming in person and paying them an actual physical visit to tell Billy what he should be doing and what he shouldn't be doing. And so much like what his parents should be doing, be there.
Yep.
Be there for your kid. You have to show them and guide them how to act in society and how to be a good person. It's not just going to happen on its own. And so I thought that was a pretty cool way of, it kind of brought up that idea that the parents aren't there, and that's part of the reason that these kids are acting this way. And now we have a mother and father figure in Ruth and Chris coming to the kid and saying, here's how you're misbehaving, and you got to do better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
awesome.
And as far as Christmas movies go, I love that we got all these, I wouldn't call them fringe ones. They're just different ways of attacking what the Christmas spirit means,
Yeah. I've had conversations with two or three of our listeners.
Atypicals, yeah.
They're saying, what's next? I told them, they're like, what?
Yeah.
This is what's next. Wait, what? Like they were just reeling from
They're
Children of
expecting-
Men, but
they're-
they love Children of Men. They love the pod.
Oh,
and they
really?
heard this.
Yes.
And so then it was
Yes.
like they were more willing to give Fatman a chance because of Children of Men and how unlikely they thought it was going to be and how beautiful it ended up being. And honestly, I didn't know, very often I can tell, because a lot of the listeners are colleagues and friends of mine, that I know in my own experience. And to get them to buy in, I try to give them a little preview, and I'm like, I have no idea. I haven't watched this one. None of us have. And they're very excited for that. The fact that they're going to be watching it with us for the first time.
Nice.
Awesome.
So I'm hopefully
Awesome.
they'll tune in and give us some good feedback on this particular one, because I thought it was a good conversation. Spearheaded by Tinman here.
Yep.
So to speak.
How about it?
I can start to talk normal now, but I know I opened it with like, hello.